The series of installation, The Family Show, was presented in Canada between 1991 and 1992. It came about after my stay in Amsterdam, where I studied at the Rijksacademie van Beeldende Kunsten, the State Academy, for about 3 years. And it was interesting because it was when I was in Amsterdam, in Europe, that I've developed my most close feeling to my Canadian identity. So actually, after living over there, I had the feeling of coming back here to do a series about not so much being Canadian, but about my origins, you could say. So I've developed this series of show which was called The Family Show, about family relationships. And I actually proposed all of these works. It was quite a challenge for me because none of these works were actually made before. They were only existed in my mind, in my sketchbook. So the galleries gave me the show just from my proposal and from my drawings. So it was quite a high when actually some of these works were finished. So here you have a general view of the first exhibition.
Oh, that's true.
Exhibition room. The show was in Regina in midwinter, and it's really, really cold there. Minus 30, minus 40. I think this is when I first got my aversion to having exhibitions during winter, which most of my exhibitions are, which I have to deal with. Conversation piece about supper time. Everything looks nice and clean and perfect. On each chair there's a tape recorder, and all the voices of the tape recorder are coming out of the two speakers that are on the table, which looks very strange. So on the outside you have a feeling of everything's nice and conversation, but actually it's only noise that's coming out of it. The covers of the chair I chose, and I redid all of them because I really wanted a specific feeling. For me, every centimeter of the space, the air, the smell, the light is part of the artwork. So I like to, it's not so much having control, but it's more like I need to define every little aspect of my artwork. Here you have another piece that's called Memorabilia. Anyway, you get the idea, which is all knickknacks, little objects that people keep because they remind them of good souvenirs from their childhoods and stuff. So you have a baseball, a tank. This is a clamps that were totally rusted, so I've put them in oil. A little steamroller, a necklace, and we'll see a turtle, Empire State Building, little radio. There's another little one I can't seem to see. Anyway, and they're not so important. It's more the feeling of what, each person have their own special feeling in their heart and our identity with these objects. And what I did is that to each object I attach a little card with a phrase, which are for me the typical phrase that parents will say, parents or any educator will say about the person growing up. And that for me these phrases are as much part of who you are as the objects that you hold in your hand, except these objects you see them, but the phrase you can't see them because they're just words. The necklace that was there actually gave to a young native girl that I met the family of. Just to reaffirm your presence. No, just to play with it. I think everything you use, you can play with it. Everything you can use, you can play with it, which is my feeling. So, as I was saying, when I was there, I met with a native woman, Michelle, and then I met her family. And this meeting actually became very important for later in my work when I did the show on slavery. So here's the different phrases. He is so polite. She never makes any trouble. He always told me where he went. She never raised her voice. He never fought with his friends. She's so honest. He never tells a lie. She's so considerate. He's such a good boy. She always shared everything. So as you can see, it's masculine and feminine at the same time. Because my work is not about autobiography, but it's more the idea that I use the concept of biography or autobiography to make work. But it's, for me, it's totally irrelevant if things is my story, my personal story or not, because what is of importance for me is to create situation or find objects that will evoke in people their own personal stories. It's not my story that I find interesting. It's actually other people's stories. So actually I like it when people see my work and then they start to tell me about their family, what was similar in what they see in my show and what they don't see, what is different in their life. So this is the new presentation of I Remember When. I had to remake the video because of transcoding. They couldn't do it in Regina. There was a problem. So then I shot it again, but this time the technician was there. So I was kind of, I don't know, shy. But also having done this video before, I could be more confident in just be able to improvise. The drawings are again there.
But there was this one time, that was really bad. Like, they saw this thing on TV about a man pulling another man, like through his legs. So they say, hey, neat, we're gonna try that. So they went to the kitchen, and then he pulled one, like, crack, bang, and he broke his collarbone, and boy, did she came back and was she ever angry.
Now this is very funny because I said the word fuck, and people who know me really know that I'm not that kind of a person. I just have a regular normal language and stuff. So watching that video always makes me, what do you say, cringe a bit. It's like, oh, but I like to leave it there because I like to work with human nature. I like to work with accidents, about beingness. So it's not so much about trying to be something else, but exploring actually what we are as real human beings, as real human people. You can see these DVD and also the making of it on another set of DVD.
And it was totally crazy in the house, because, well, we live in a two-story house, so it's like running up and down the staircase, and, and we had like this great habit, which was like the banging of doors, it's like bang, it's like, it was a great thing to get rid of your frustrations and stuff like that, and really, really crazy. So when it was Christmas, it's like we always...
And as you can see, the 4 drawings are there with the night lamps. And I like this idea of the night lamps because when you're very young, I don't know, we had that in my family, but I'm sure many families had that for the little children. So again, I like to play with every little element possible to that can evoke a personal souvenir.
We had this big car ride, and then we get into this place because the family would rent this very big hall, and like all the cousin and uncle and everybody would be there. So there was drinking and dancing and boozing and all this stuff, these stupid little sandwiches and stuff. Anyway, and then like you had these games, like you had a broom and you were holding it against the ceiling, and then it's like there was this thing on it, I don't know, bottle cap, and then you had like to turn around with it without dropping. Anyway, something totally stupid. I remember one time, it's like they brought a pony in the house, in the kitchen, and then they put...
And again, the idea is to, it's memories that everybody can share. It's not my personal story that matters. It's evoking things that people can relate to. So here's a general view from the other side, and to the next piece, which is called If Only. Now, If Only became a kind of very poetical piece with a mixture of text and images. Now, again, that screen, all the objects that you see come from Regina. I had brought along the slides, and I remember making the slides with the words when I was over there. As you will see, it's quite simple. So you got these three projectors, and then you see a few faces, a few words, a few faces, a few words, until the whole poetry is done. Now, I've never worked with so much technology before, but again, thanks for the people from the gallery in Regina to have made it possible with that little timing mechanism, and always having those projector lights working, which was very nice. And I'm also happy to have shot that documentation, because installations are very hard to convey through photographs. So there we go. The slides I made are from old slides and photos from my family, and then I did some different close-up thinking about this project. Again, as I say, it's not important who these people are. What is important is you feel about that kind of, family, young youth, nostalgia pictures. So the cycle lasted maybe about 2 minutes, and I made a video of it so you can watch it, and because my handwriting sometimes maybe you can't read it. So it was if only you had given me the chance to be myself, I could have shown you how much I love you. Why were you so afraid that would you lose me if you had given me the chance to be myself? And actually, I do enjoy the sound of the machines and the rhythm of the slides, because today, when I had the chance to say, okay, I'm going to make a DVD version of this piece, I felt, and as you saw, that I kept exactly this image and just put the words more clearly. Because the time it takes, I think time is a very important element in my work, and that you need to involve yourself with time to appreciate the work. That you would lose me if you had given me the chance to be myself. So as I watch this, I think it's true that I do have a kind of very meditative side to my artwork, where time is important, and that to see my work, you must give it time, not time to mentally understand, but just time to feel what is happening, as in any relationship. And the last piece we see, which I call coming to bed or not to bed. So always a word game. I think words are wonderful to be to play with. So you have the bed with the light under, so actually everything looks so totally normal. And I remember when I finished this work how exhilarated, like really fascination, happy, that such a simple reversal of, instead of when you're a kid the monsters are under your bed because it's dark, and where there's light everything is safe. And just by doing a simple reversal where the bed is the light is actually coming from under the bed, then suddenly the whole of reality becomes I don't like the word scary, but becomes very, very strange. And this work then became more and more inspiration also for doing performance. So you'll see it in me doing some performance with that piece there.